How do you stop a bull from charging? Cancel its credit card. Today, I'm going to recap a 2014 action thriller film called Sabotage. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The film opens with John Breacher Wharton watching a video of a man torturing a woman who was John's wife. 8 months later, with his team, John, the leader of the DEA's Special Operations Team, is on his way to raid a cartel warehouse. It appeared that the cartel was having a drug party. Inside, there's Lizzie, a DEA agent posing a hooker. John and his team had just broken into the drug cartel's warehouse. When Lizzie realized her team had arrived, she opened fire on some cartel members inside the house, then ran to his squad, prepared, and requested to join the team, claiming to be the one who knows where the money is. With their skills, they easily immobilize them one by one. When they walk into a room and see a large sum of money, about $200 million, they become excited. Lizzie and Grinder wrapping the money while Monster and Pyro dismantled a toilet, and Smoke erecting an iron fence. After Smoke is killed, the crew collects $10 million and hides it in a sewer while blowing up the rest of the money to cover their tracks. The next day, they went to get the money, only to find that it had disappeared and that all they had found was a bullet. John and the rest of the team are interrogated about the missing money, but none of them admits it. Floyd, John's superior, informs him that the case has been closed because no evidence has been discovered, and his team is now back on the job. John went to their office and informed the team that their case is closed and that they are all ready to continue their jobs. Then have a drink to celebrate it. Later that night, Pyro is killed as an unknown tows his motorhome over a railroad crossing and he is rammed by a train before he can escape. The case is being investigated by Atlanta Police Department homicide detective Caroline Brentwood and her colleague Darius Jackson. Brentwood notes Neck is deliberately avoiding interrogation, and John accompanies her to Neck's house, hopeful he will cooperate. When they arrive, they find him nailed to the ceiling and disemboweled. Brentwood recognizes the execution as the modus operandi of the cartels, leading John to assume the cartel is hunting the team over the stolen money. At office, John and his team are arguing whether or not their lives are in danger. Monster believed that the murder was carried out by cartels. Brentwood found a flash drive on her car seat that did not belong to her or Darius. She noticed to the contents of the flash drive, which turned out to be a recording of John and his team's interrogation. Brentwood realized she was being deceived by John. With an unpleasant expression on his face, he went to John's and asked him to be honest about the raid. Caroline claimed that the murder had something to do with the money. John and Brentwood visit Tripod, who left the DEA after being suspended, and find him dead after a shootout in which he killed an assailant John identifies as a cartel enforcer. At night, Brentwood is watching a video of the cartel's cruelty. Monster appears unexpectedly next to Brentwood, who is suspicious of John. Monster informs her that the cartels kidnapped John's family and videotaped their killings before sending the footage to John along with the mutilated body parts of his wife and son. John hunted for his family's killers for months until the team convinced him to return. Tripod and Grinder arrive to pick up John, who is hell-bent on finding the killer who murdered his family. Since the incident, Monster claims to have lost all understanding of John. John then appears unexpectedly in the middle of their conversation. John tells Monster to go home and Brentwood apologizes for his loss. When Brentwood is swimming, John appears and gives her a file containing fingerprints, records, and everything related to the cartels. John claimed that he cares about her safety and doesn't want anything happen to her. Brentwood was speechless, she kissed him, and they had sex. The next morning, Jackson saw John's car pulling up as he came to pick up Brentwood. He knows that they had sex last night. They go to the office and wait for the fingerprint check results, which show that the fingerprints match. They immediately issue an arrest warrant, while John and his team prepare and wait for Brentwood's intel, which John used only to find the cartel's hiding places. As expected, Brentwood managed to track down the cartels. They immediately prepare to get there. Meanwhile, John receives a call and rushes to the cartel's hideout with his team. When they arrived, they carefully checked all the room. They fearlessly gunned them down one by one. One of the bad guy grabbed a woman as a hostage. Monster with a skilled shooter killed the man without hurting women. They discovered dozens of cans containing liquid drugs in one of the rooms. Monster then double-checked the cartel's IDs, which revealed that they were not the ones they were looking for. Outside the apartment, Brentwood and the SWAT team arrived. She saw John and his team left the flat and told her that the scheme had been cleared. When Brentwood realized she was being exploited, she was furious and upset. Few days later, Two men were fishing and attempting to get their anchor out of the water. However, when they saw a human body, they were taken aback. The three bodies were then investigated, and it was discovered that they had been dead for about a week. They had the same tattoo as the one John discovered in Tripod Place. Brentwood and Jackson realizes that they were killed before Pyro and Neck, meaning someone is framing the cartel for killing their team members. At night, while John is watching video of his wife's torture, his phone rings with a request for a meeting from the team. They suspect one of them is the murderer. Lizzie then lashes out and reveals she's been having an affair with Sugar. Monster goes mad and tries to kill Sugar, but John intervenes. The next morning, Grinder contacts Brentwood, and he confides that they stole the money to please John. John and Brentwood meet with Grinder in a local restaurant, and Lizzie kills Grinder using a sniper rifle. They arrived at the shooting scene and questioned a policewoman. She then claimed she met with a female DEA agent and left with a black man after hearing gunfire. Lizzie and Sugar have been behind the murders of their teammates. Lizzie is putting together her gear to leave the country with Sugar. Monster destroys her passport to prevent her from leaving the country. She is enraged and pulls out a knife, stabbing Monster to death. Breacher and Brentwood go to Lizzie's house and find Monster's body stuffed in a refrigerator. Lizzie then calls John, pretending to be alone, and arranges a meeting at a parking garage. John goes there with Brentwood, who ducks down in the car, unseen. When John saw Sugar's car, he approached it. Sugar and Lizzie weren't in the car. The women they had kidnapped were. Lizzie and Sugar ambush John and shoot him in the back from a hole in another car. Luckily, the bullet hits his vest. Brentwood then drives a car to keep John safe. He jumps into the rear of the car and pursues Lizzie and Sugar, who flee. After a lengthy chase, Sugar and Lizzie's car hit a cyclist and crashes into a tow truck, the ramp decapitating Sugar. John and Brentwood confront a dying Lizzie, who accuses the team of stealing the money behind her back, motivating her to seek revenge. Brentwood is puzzled, assuming Lizzie had stolen the money. John tells the dying Lizzie that he took the money. Lizzie tries to reach for her weapon, and John kills her. The local cops arrive and John disappears. Weeks later, John is in Mexico, where he uses the stolen money to bribe a corrupt police official into helping him identify Brujo, the man who murdered his family. John finds him in a Mexican bar and follows him in the man's bathroom. While inside, John points his gun to Brujo's neck and tells that you're mine. John hit him with his gun and shot him in the head. John then threw a flash grenade outside and began firing at other men who loyal to Brujo. Wounded, Breacher sits at a table, takes a shot of whiskey, lights up one last cigar and smiles as the music builds, and he awaits his fate. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy. Hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice just to be sure. You should watch the full movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more video like this.